And welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. We're joined with Racquelle Pakutz from Trucker Talks. How you doing, Racquelle?
Oh, it's lovely Friday. Thank you so much for having me back on.
You know what? It's my pleasure. And so, Racquelle, I don't know if you heard the story or not, but I see that you do a lot of walking, a lot of hiking. What would you do if you saw that bison?
Oh my gosh, I was sitting here laughing because I don't know what I would do. I would run for the nearest tree, I think. I don't know.
I know. And do you have a dog?
I do, and he's pretty protective. So my dog's big. He's a bigger dog.
Isn't it the dog? I mean, you watch movies on this, and that's what you're born to do, dog, is to step in and take the hit so I don't have to take it. I'm just saying, I'm questioning my dog right now if I'm her.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't know. Those things are huge. They're big.
Have you been out there in that area, Montana, Colorado, and seen them live?
I have. I've been at the national park in North Dakota, and there were bison that just walked right up to our car. Super cool, but I was not getting out of the car.
All right, so give me craziest thing that's ever happened to you out on a hike.
We came upon a moose in Colorado. Ooh. And that's scary because they can be aggressive and they can turn at any time. So we kind of just turned around and walked the other way.
So I've never seen one of them live. I've been up in Maine and I've heard the stories. Those things are just, I mean, they're like unbelievably big, right?
They are. They're like taller than a horse. And horses are big to me, so they're huge.
No, I'm right with you, and I'm scared of horses too. So, yeah, I'm not a big hiker out there. My son, I'll give my son, he's out there. He's been at Glacier Park. He's now at Yellowstone. He does that for the summertime, does these hikes. He just hiked up like the tallest mountain there in Colorado, took pictures of it. Just, awesome. And he's, he works for the Parks Department, so he normally is the guy, he's Mr. Parks Department, so he's like, I have no patience for people. If they get hit by a moose, they deserve to get it. I'm like, dude, come on. Because they always did something wrong. They shouldn't have been there. We're in their area, we're in their town, and the animals thing. So we the humans get blamed in his eyes all the time. All right, let's talk a little Zen Freight first. What's going on in that flatbed market today?
Well, it's just like you were saying, things are a little bit quieter than they have been for the past 6 months, but that doesn't mean there's nothing. It's just the same. It's a matter of where are your contracts, where are the consistencies, and you do have to bring your prices down to win anything in the spot market right now, but it's still there and we're still kicking.
Yeah, and I tell people all the time is you just can't really don't live in last year. That was kind of a fluke year. But if you go back to 2019, 18, 17, 16, rates today are still higher than they were back in those days. Unfortunately, we have fuel, but that's come down, and that's probably helped you a little bit as well, right, with fuel pricing coming down?
Definitely. I think we're down to $4.15 here in the Northeast for gas. I haven't checked diesel, but yeah, I mean, it's starting to come back down, and I'm starting to see prices come down with drivers as well. It's just they have to understand there's not as much demand, right?
There's not, for sure. Now, I have heard and read that, we expect, like right now happening is a big push in that oil and gas market to take advantage of the price and where it is today. And that diesel, that sweet spot, that money making in diesel area, well, that's still a couple months away. We're not in its own peak season yet. That's October-ish, something like that. So a lot of the people in the oil and gas expect that to kind of take a little upside swing on that. Probably not bad news for you, right?
Not at all. That's the same news I was hearing when I was in Texas in May. Everyone said everything's on order. It's just on back order. So it should be coming September, October. So you're right on the money there.
Yeah, you know what? Have you heard a bigger, back order, national back order? Is there a phrase used more that, it's almost like the trucking company saying I'm broke down. You don't even know if it's true anymore, right?
I know. It's crazy. I have people telling me that they've ordered things and they're like 18 months out
It's insane.
Before it will be here. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it is insane. And so I was talking to, we check in with the folks at Kenworth, really involved with two of our big contacts, and we see what's going on in the market. They're still way behind on getting trucks produced. They're bringing trucks out to places. We've heard about the chips, the technology, just there's shortage on the chips. They're sending out trucks without all the safety components. That's happening today. But they're also delivering trucks without, and I know we don't need it most of the time, but without seats in that passenger side because they don't have them. I mean, they say the parts are still crazy behind producing vehicles that they're delivering. You're paying full price but not getting a full truck. So it's real and it's crazy out there.
That is wild. I mean, what if your dog wants to sit on the seat beside you, right?
Thank you. Yeah, I know. I don't know it doesn't even seem right. And then you think about the logistics of getting that truck back to get the chips put back in it, to get that seat put back in it. When it happens, it costs that company more money to get it all done, make it happen. And from a safety perspective, and again, that's what we're about. We're producing trucks today across all markets, not just Volvo, Freightliner, we're talking Kenworth, International, it doesn't matter, that are running today. I'm talking a brand new truck that has the capability to have all of these safety suites, these safety features. And Racquelle, because of that chip shortage, they're running out there without any of these things because they don't have a choice. They can't get the chips in.
That's wild.
Isn't that wild?
I just would think that we would switch to manufacturing here in the United States, but I know that we don't have people to work here. So.
Yeah, where are they at, right? I mean, we see the same thing. It's not just a trucking industry shortage. It's a labor shortage across everything we see. All right, let's talk trucker talks, all right? Tell me a little bit about that, because when you were on the show last time, you were Racquelle Zen Freight. I ran across you in Iowa, and here you are. You're doing your podcast, and you got your husband, and he's carrying this camera, sweating to death. That poor guy. God rest his. You were too, though. It was a little humid out there. But talk to me about the podcast. What's it about, and how's it going?
Sure. So it's Trucker Talks Live. It's all about bringing a platform for drivers to really tell their stories of good, bad, indifferent, and just to get the word out there, what it means to be a driver and what it's like on the road. My biggest goal is to somehow influence this industry and bring more drivers into transportation, whether that's male or female, whoever. We just want more people to understand what it is and to realize that it's really a legacy to have a trucking company and to be in this environment.
So talk to me. So how long has the podcast been going?
We have produced 2 episodes so far. I have a few more that we've already recorded. But, there's some challenges in producing a podcast.
All right, so talk to us, because there's a lot of people out there that are thinking about doing it. A lot of people have jumped into it. Hey, what are those challenges for those people out there that are thinking about opening up and doing their own podcast?
Yeah, learning how to edit, how to remove sound from a video is a challenge on its own. And then figuring out what tools to use. I didn't know what an RSS feed was. I had to do a lot of research and trying to figure out, where do you put it online and how does it all work? There's a big learning curve, but luckily my husband and I like to call ourselves super learners. We'll learn anything. You just got to find out where to find it.
And you know what, you must have a passion, because when you're out there, let's just take Iowa, for example, you've got to have the courage to go up and talk to people, cold. It's kind of like a cold call in sales. You've got to go make yourself vulnerable to these folks and say, hey, can I talk to you about this? How has that been? I mean, has that ever been an issue for you or for another podcaster? Let's kind of talk to them about, some of these things, because it really is kind of a cold call business as well when you're setting these interviews up.
Oh, it definitely is. It's taken me a long time. If you go back 2 years ago, when I got on camera, I was super scared, shaking all the time. But I've been practicing. Practice makes you better. I won't say perfect. And I've talked to drivers on the phone for 13 years now.
Yeah.
So truckers are like my friends. They're not scary to me. Making a cold call to a customer for business, that's a little scary, but connecting with a driver and understanding their business and their livelihood is fuel to me. It's a passion of mine.
So you're talking about a podcast that's maybe brings in more drivers to our industry. Let's talk about about that for a minute, because there's some things in our industry that really need to be fixed that will bring in or attract more drivers in it. When you talk to drivers out there, I mean, what are some of the maybe the hints that our industry needs to listen to allow more drivers to want to come into our area? What are struggles, I guess, that when you talk to drivers that, my God, we're talking parking, pay or whatever that is, what do you hear most from drivers that we have, as an industry, must address?
So the number one thing everyone told me, mostly at the Walcott show, was that it's getting harder to get into the industry. They're making so many rules and regulations. So I feel like we just really need to help drivers in overcoming those obstacles and getting into the industry. On top of that, it's a safety issue as far as in training. If we're trying to get women into the industry and you only have male trainers, that's really hard to go over the road. So I think we just need to bring some light to all of these problems. And another big one of mine, and I hear this all the time, is eating healthy on the road. There's nothing good at truck stops. I know, I travel all over the country. It's very unfortunate, but I hope maybe we can get the word out there.
Yeah, and great point on that. And that eating, and while you can find it or you can eat healthier than you could, it's also a lot more expensive, right, to try to eat healthy at the truck stop versus going to McDonald's or whatever else is out there at the Sonic that's there. All of those things. But you bring up a great point, and that's, say, that the male-dominated, the training. Well, if you want a woman in there, you got to have women trainers to go over the road with as well. What about are you hearing anything from the drivers or even from, say, the vendors, the truck stops, the shippers? They as well have got to change how they do things, blocking off bathrooms, no drivers allowed, at shippers or receivers. We still see those signs, porta potties out front. What are some of the drivers or customers or vendors that you talk to? What are some suggestions they have for these folks, to make it more user friendly for, number one, let's just talk women first, and then for drivers in general?
I haven't found anyone with a solution yet. I'm still hearing all the problems. but those are major ones. I think across the board, drivers don't get the respect that they deserve. And that's my goal with Trucker Talks Live, is really to show, like, we're all human and we're doing the best that we can with what we've got. And sometimes we need to adjust and change things in the industry.
Yeah, and so you hear the same thing I hear, and that is there are no solutions. Yet we all hear what the issues are. You're hearing it, I'm hearing it. I bet you if we take all these podcasters, all these trucking companies, we put all of these issues together, I bet we all have the same top 5.
Oh,
and
100%.
That, Racquelle, now here we go. How do we take those same top 5 and put an action item in it to get these things addressed to attract more drivers to our industry? Any thoughts on that?
I think it really is going to come down to the individual companies. And as companies start to stand out as the ones that treat their employees or their drivers or their vendors better, they're going to continue to get the better service and continue to have more growth compared to the ones like companies that I know that drivers go and sit at for 16 plus hours to get loaded. they're going to continue to have a hard time getting drivers to come in there if they continue to treat them that way.
Yeah, and those are the ones, right? Those long detention, those long wait periods for any driver. I mean, we are costing them not only money, but we're making them less safe because now we're messing with the rest periods. All of these things, and let me tell you something, we've got to find a way to address those with the shippers, receivers, the trucking companies that aren't taking care of their drivers as well. That way, it's something that we have to make sure that we work on together as an industry. All right, you brought it up earlier, and I want to go back to it. You're talking about your husband, John, and he travels with you. Y'all do this show together. All right, that's husband and wife. Talk to me. Is that heaven working with your husband all the time? Is there any challenges with that?
Oh, there's a ton of challenges. We worked separately for the first 11 years of our relationship. So just the past 3 have we been side by side, and there are definitely challenges. We have different outlooks on things quite a lot, and sometimes you got to have a little fight in order to resolve it. But overall, he's very supportive, and he loves watching us grow as a company, and is always there to help me along. So I recommend it if you can push through the hard stuff.
Yeah, right. You got to, and you have to be willing to address it, because if you don't address it, so let me ask you this: podcast, when you're doing your podcast, has it ever happened where that fight, that argument, because it is your spouse, did it affect how the interview went? Was he not filming you, or did he turn your microphone off because he was mad at you, or anything like that?
No, but I will say at the Walcott show, we had a lengthy driver that just wanted to chat, which you get those, and he was trying to stand still, and it was the hardest thing for him because he was just trying to hold the camera still. So we got a stand for him now, so he doesn't have to hold it.
Oh, God bless you. I saw him out there holding that thing too, and I'm like, those things, and kudos to those guys. I bet you they have muscles in some places that they never thought they'd have before, because those cameras are kind of heavy and awkward.
They are, and there's so much to learn. It's so technical. That's not my forte. He's a super learner. He'll figure it all out for me.
Awesome. That is cool. Hey, Racquelle, as we close out this, how do our listeners, or how do listeners in general, how do they find you, and what's the best way for them to get on and listen to your podcast? If they want to find freight, what's the best way for them to find some of that flatbed freight from you as well?
Sure. So I have a website called Trucker Talks Live, and if you're interested in coming on and chatting with me, you can go on and fill out a form, and we can line that up nice and easy. And for Zen Freight Solutions, it's also stressfreeshipping.us. It's all about communication, and as long as we're openly communicating, I feel that everything goes well.
All right, well, hold on a second. Stress-free shipping, is there really such a thing?
Well, I believe that there can be. I think that's my goal, right? That's why my company is Zen Freight Solutions, to reduce the stress of everyone, for drivers, for customers, and for myself, because it's all about how you communicate and set things up.
All right. Hey, Racquelle, I want to thank you so much again for being on BCB Live. Before we get out of here, though, you've got to state your name, who you're with, and you can list all the different companies you're with, but then you end it with, you've been watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This is Racquelle Pakutz with Zen Freight Solutions and Trucker Talks Live, and you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. All right,
Miss Racquelle, thank you so much. Y'all stay safe. I'm sure I'll run into you in one of these other a new show or something like that. Hey, where are you going to be at next with the podcast?
Oh, I'm not quite sure, but I will be in Texas in October. So I'll try to stop in and make an event, a live event.
Yeah, for sure. Don't we have Women in Trucking, I think, in November here. We have the McLeod Trucker Conference coming up, I think, in November. Conferences everywhere. They've been, and I know we're trying to get out of here, but those shows that you've gone to, they've been really well attended, especially post-COVID.
They really have. There's been more and more people. I think the Walcott show was bigger than the Kentucky show that I was at. And I think that's super cool. I love seeing the camaraderie and more people coming together. So I look forward to attending more shows in the future.
All right, Racquelle, be safe out there. And if you go hiking, stay away from the bison. That's all I got to say. Stay away from the bison, or start talking to your dog today about, hey, the hit that he or she's going to have to take if this comes across. I'm just saying, that's their job. Anyway, I'm just kidding. Racquelle, have a great day, okay?